What's up, Raptors fans? Welcome to the Warrant Report. We have some news to talk to about regarding the Toronto Raptors, and it's always exciting when the Raptors sign a player, even though it may just be a 10-day contract. And the Raptors have signed Armoni Brooks to a 10-day contract and have released DJ Wilson. So DJ Wilson, just last week we had signed him to a 10-day contract. They're releasing him to make room for Armoni Brooks. I just want to say it's very unfortunate for DJ Wilson. Very unfortunate circumstances given that we did sign him to a 10-day contract earlier this season, and then after his first 10-day contract, he went into COVID protocols, and then after we signed him to a second 10-day contract only to not play him at all, and we had just signed him to a third 10-day contract, and he got injured in one of the games he played in with a knee injury, which is just really unfortunate for DJ Wilson, who's a very nice player and just would have liked to see him with the Raptors more, but I understand why they signed Armoni Brooks because the Raptors do have some injuries and they needed some positional needs they needed to fill out. Now, Fred VanVleet, who has been dealing with that knee issue for quite some time, is out again with a knee issue against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Malachi Flynn, who went from playing 0 minutes, sitting on the bench a lot, to playing 30 plus minutes, and he even played 40 minutes the last game, is dealing with a hamstring issue as well. So the Raptors are without a point guard, and they added a guard to the roster. So for today's video, I'm going to break down Armoni Brooks, what he provides to the Toronto Raptors, what he would bring. I'm going to give you a grade for this signing and ultimately give you a player comparison of who I think he would be a lot like. So if you're ready to watch this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you want to hit the subscribe button, that'd be awesome as well. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, as you guys know, I do like to give out shout outs on my channel, and for today's video, the shout out goes out to Team Lucid Gaming. So Team Lucid Gaming, thank you so much for supporting this channel. It's your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. Now let's talk about Armoni Brooks. Now Armoni Brooks is actually listed as a shooting guard, so he's not exactly filling the position of a point guard on the Toronto Raptors. I'm guessing the Raptors will likely start Scotty Barnes or Pascal Siakam at that point guard position. But Armoni Brooks, he's listed at 6'3", 195 pounds, and he's only 23 years old. And you'll notice that he's not 6'8", 6'9", but enough of those silly jokes. He's also a very young player. So one of those things you'll notice with the Raptors is, outside of DJ Wilson, when the Raptors do sign a lot of these players to a 10-day contract, they're not just signing young, or I should say older guys. They're signing a lot of these guys that are under 24, 25 years old, and they're taking a look at a lot of these players as a second chance opportunities and potentially find a hidden gem. I know we talk a lot about that on this channel, about the Raptors signing hidden gems, but Armoni Brooks, sometimes you just needed another opportunity. And the reason I say that is because when you take a look at his statistics, you'll notice his first season with the Houston Rockets was pretty good for a rookie. 20 games played, 11.2 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 3.4 rebounds. Again, nothing really jumps out at you besides the points. He did put up some points, but then you'll notice this season his numbers dipped a little bit. Now, is that because he's struggling? Possibly. But also, we need to take a look at some other factors that affect the player's statistics as well. The Houston Rockets did just draft Jalen Green, who can play the small forward shooting guard position, and they obviously do have Kevin Porter Jr., who does play the point guard position for them, but he can play the shooting guard position as well, which just kind of gives you an idea that obviously he hasn't been getting the same opportunity as evident by his minutes played per game. And even when you take a look at some other statistics as well, his field goal attempts per game went from 9.6 to 6.1, and everything you can tell just went below. His field goal percentage dipped, his three-point percentage dipped as well, shooting from 38% to 30%, and everything besides his free throws increased. Now, I'm happy that he's shooting a little bit better because you don't want your shooting guard shooting 58%. He's shooting 84%, which is what you want to see. But when you talk about Armoni Brooks, I always like to talk about G League statistics. The reason I say this is because it gives you a better sample size. He's not just coming off of the bench for 10 minutes. He's playing 20 plus minutes, and this just gives you a better idea of what he'd be able to put. I know the G League is against less talented players, but as you see there, 10.7 points in his first season in the G League, 16.8 and 17 points this season. Although it is just 2 games, he did play 29 minutes. Now, what I like from him is that 3-point percentage has come up again. As you notice, he shot 39%, and then it went a little bit below a few percentages, but this season in the G League, he's hitting 44%. And I want to highlight this because he's taking 9 shots per game. So it's not just like he took a couple of attempts a game and his 3-point percentage jumped. I like that his 3-point percentage is up there because we know the Raptors need some spacing. So he can be that player that can come in and really just provide some 3-point shooting. He really likes to shoot the shot. So I'll give you my player comparison in just a second. But the reason I say that is because he just loves to shoot whenever he gets the ball. He's a high volume shooter. He'll shoot whenever he gets the opportunities to, and at times he shoots a bit too much, which may irritate Nick Nurse. So we'll see how many minutes he gets. But the player comparison I want to talk about, and it should be obvious when I say he's a high volume shooter, is Lou Williams. Now, when you talk about Armoni Brooks, you take a look at some of his highlights on YouTube, you'll notice that he loves to shoot the three-pointer. He can not only dribble and take that three-point shooter, he's also a decent catch and shoot three-point shooter as well. So that does remind me a lot of Lou Williams, but also Armoni Brooks does a lot of similar things. Now, obviously not to the same level of Lou Williams, or else he would have been on an NBA roster, but some of the similar skill sets when we talk about player comparisons. And Armoni Brooks is also good at driving to the basket as well. So a lot of the times he shoots a high volume of three-point shots, and a lot of opposing team's defender close out, and that's when he'll drive past them. So he makes cuts. He shoots a lot of three-pointers as well. So the Raptors need that three-point shooting. And unfortunately, he does take, and like I said, he's a very high-volume shooter. So depending on how much Nick Nurse plays him and whether or not he actually plays him is a big question. It really just depends. You know, he can shoot 5 shots and make only one of them. And a lot of fans will say, well, this is a terrible signing. He takes seven shots, he makes 5 of them. He all of a sudden becomes a hidden gem. So I think a lot of the things we need to talk about with Armoni Brooks is just opportunity, opportunity, and opportunity. Whether he gets that with the Raptors and how many minutes he plays, how many shots he gets to take, it all depends. But it may drive some fans crazy in terms of how much he'll shoot. Again, it'll depend on how much Nick Nurse uses him and whether or not Nick Nurse actually tells him to take less shots. We'll have to wait and see. But he's an interesting player. He shoots a lot of shots. Again, it depends. If he gets hot, he can drop 20 points. If he struggles, he could go 1 of 7. So it just really depends on Armoni Brooks of how hot he is. He's a very he's like I said, he's a very Lou Williams type of player in the sense that if he catches fire, he'll score a lot of points. If he's struggling, he'll shoot a lot and continuously miss. So I think it just depends. But in terms of giving this signing a grade, I would probably give this a C+. Now, I may be a little bit harsh because I don't know a lot about Armoni Brooks. I'm just basing this off of some of the highlights and his statistics, but he seems like a high-volume shooter who takes a lot of three-pointers and isn't, for being honest, I know he's putting up points in the G League. I don't know how many points he's actually going to score with the Raptors, and he's not exactly a great three-point shooter. I know I highlighted some of his G League stats, but just in terms of at the NBA level, I don't know if he's going to score a lot for the Raptors. It just depends. But in terms of some of the things we really needed, which was passing as well. So, and we needed that point guard position, which he isn't. So we'll wait and see. Hold off of judging or giving this signing a harsh grade. So I'm going to give it a C+. I'm not too excited. I'm keeping my expectations very mild. If he does great, that's amazing, which I don't doubt he's capable of doing because he does take a lot of shots and he can hit those three-pointers, but we'll wait and see. So that will be it for today's video. So I do want to ask you guys, what do you think of Armoni Brooks? Do you like this signing? Do you not like it? Would you rather have kept someone else or signed someone else? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, guys, I do have a trivia question for you today. And that trivia question is, where was Armoni Brooks drafted? Was it 29th overall, A? Was it B, 34th overall? Was it C, 44th overall? Or was it D, was he undrafted? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly first in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. And I'm continuing what I have started from my previous videos, which is taking a question and discussing it. Now, I did not get anyone asking me a question about anything in the comment section. So this comment actually comes from Raps Champs 2019 from Reddit. So this question was, anyone else think Young should be starting at the 5 during these injuries? If Nurse is so keen on bringing Precious and Boucher off of the bench together as a spark, Young should be at least getting the start over Birch. Young has been played at the 5 quite a bit the last few seasons. He can shoot at a decent clip, and he's much better finisher and defender than Cam Birch. Watching players just abuse Birch on defense has been quite annoying, and he doesn't provide anything on offense. Seems like we always go down by around 10 points in lineups Cam is playing in. Then Precious and Boucher come in and we claw back up only to go back down again. Would rather stop digging ourselves in a hole to begin with because of Nurse's obsession with starting Birch. Now, before I talk about who I think should be starting instead of Cam Birch, I will say this. Fans have a habit, and I'm saying this in the politest way. Fans have a habit of getting too high and low on players. We saw that with Gary Trent Jr. Now everyone is disliking Gary Trent Jr. We saw this with Malachi Flynn. Even though he was playing limited minutes, fans were saying to just trade him for whatever you can get. And the same could be said for Chris Boucher as well, who really struggled to start the season. So I think you need to be patient with Cam Birch. He has been injured a lot. He's been in and out of the lineups a lot. I will say though, in terms of starting young, I'm not against the idea of starting young. I just think you could use him on the second unit, just someone as a facilitator, that veteran you need off of the bench. And I know Cam Birch isn't one who's going to fill the stat sheets. He's not going to give you 20 and 10. He's likely going to give you 5 points, 3 rebounds, maybe 1 assist if you're lucky. But Cam Birch, you need him in the starting lineup to obviously guard bigger centers, but also because you need to get him in a rhythm. You're going to need Cam Birch in the playoffs against some of the centers. He's a smart player. He just needs to get in a rhythm of not only playing with our starting lineup, but just playing with some of our starters and just getting back into playing and just getting good at basketball again. As terrible as that may sound, he has definitely struggles. There's no doubt about that. But the thing I think with Cam Birch is he just needs some time. He needs some time. So all I will say is preach patience. And although Birch does not score a lot, we don't really need him to score a lot. That's the most important thing. Obviously, we have some injuries to our starting lineup right now, but our main scorers are Pascal, Fred, OG, and of course, Scotty Barnes as well, depending on who you start. So we don't exactly need Cam to come in and be our starting center and score a lot because we have 4 scorers in our starting lineup and Scotty Barnes as well, again, when Cam isn't playing. So I'm not against the idea of starting Thaddeus Young. I think you keep Cam Birch in there. Just get him used to some more playing time. Give him some time, guys. Be patient. I know it's frustrating watching players struggle, but you need to just let players play through these struggles and just get better and with playing time. So that's all I will say. But I do want to hear your thoughts regarding the signing and this question as well. So that will be it for today's video, guys. So if you're still watching this video, guys, thank you so much for watching. And I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.